Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. So today I want to talk to you about unexpected world events and just very pressing news that are happening right now. So unless you have been living under a rock, you know that recently, in January of this year, international Colombian sensation Shakira released a song in response to a very unexpected event, which is that her partner Piqué cheated on her, which was wild. But let's talk about music as a response to unexpected events. Um, American composer Billy Joel went as far as to list 40 years of unexpected world events in his song We Didn't Start the Fire. It basically talked about things and events that happened throughout his lifetime that had impacted him. After the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Alan Jackson in 2001 released a song which was called Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning That September Day? And so basically all of these songs have been created in response to the events that have shaped humanity and history. We also have, during the COVID-19 pandemic, which I'm sure you all remember, which was a very traumatic event for all of us, a girl group named Avenue Beat released a song in 2020 that was called F 2020. And I'm sure it's a sentiment that we can all relate to. So now that we've seen all of these examples of music and performances and just basically artists that have created art to respond to life's unexpected events, what is music if not just another way to try and respond to the events that we cannot grasp and comprehend? What is music if not just a response to the unexpected? Music has been linked to ancient civilizations as a way for expression and communication. And the origin of music itself has even been traced by researchers to the origin of language. Music has been used to accompany every aspect and dimension of humanity, including work. And this is where the work songs are born. Work songs are old musical pieces that are basically just related to tasks in manual labor and agrarian works, and they are connected with a connected narrative, description, or even a protest. So they have been huge elements of change for cultures and different civilizations through history. Their origin even traces back to civilizations in agricultural, pastoral, domestic, and even slavery settings. In fact, in African American culture for the United States, work songs have a particularly rich history as they're dated back to the days of slavery and forced labor. Workers used these work songs as a way to create expression and community and build a sense of identity as they were struggling with work. After the Civil War, workers even continued to use these work songs as a way to boost morale, and the songs even contained information about escape routes, and the sounds helped mask the planning and the information. We also have work songs of miners, the sea shanties of sailors, and the work songs of farmers and people who work the land. But why does this matter? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, so bear with me. I was born and raised in this beautiful city called Caracas, Venezuela, in that little tiny dot in the north of South America. And I love music. And I have been singing ever since I can remember. And the reason why I am honored to stand here with you today is because of one person who had a deep impact in my life. That's me when I was around 7 or 8 years old, and then when I was around 12 or 13, before puberty hit, clearly. And the person who's standing behind me is my first music professor, Eknoel Cordido. And basically, he taught me everything I know about music, and he made me discover my passion for music and for singing. Thanks to him, I was able to overcome my fears, and I obtained a diploma in music and performance and singing at the age of 16. And he inspired me through showing me a very beautiful thing about my country, which are the work songs of the land that are called tonadas. So tonadas are these old agricultural songs that basically connect the worker with his land and with nature, and basically the tasks that he has to perform. And so they're a reflection of this synchrony with nature and labor and music. And he did this by teaching me about a very important Venezuelan composer, and he's called Simón Díaz. Simón Díaz basically composed many tonadas and work songs, and he endeavored to recover this folklore of Venezuelan culture that actually had been lost since workers were actually abandoning the land to find better life conditions in the cities. So tonadas are examples of the complexity and dimensions of the work songs as just ancestral responses to the unexpected elements of life and labor and of nature. The work songs are an important part of South American and Andean regions, and they have been traced back to several civilizations, even pre-Columbian civilizations. And later, they were infused with elements of Spanish colonizers who established new ways and new forms of work and labor. And then after that, they were also infused with cultural elements of people who were immigrating to the region. So the Venezuelan tonada is the tonada llanera, or the tunes of the plains, which is that tiny green area that you see here in the Venezuelan map. And it is basically related to tasks, typical tasks of the plains, such as milking and herding. So Simon Diaz, this composer, grew up on the Venezuelan plains, where he basically learned to sing and play a very important Venezuelan instrument, which is the cuatro. And along with the maracas and a small Venezuelan harp, this provided the instrumentation for the tonada llanera, or the music of the plains in Venezuela. So Simon Diaz was particularly interested with tonadas and this connection that the workers were establishing with nature and culture. And this idea that work songs were able to pass skills and knowledge for generations. These beautiful pictures that you see here are depictions of the llano and the way that llaneros live, which is so different of the way of living that we know. This is how a Venezuelan worker of the land describes the tonadas, and this is a little bit of the cultural importance of the tonadas. The tonadas are songs to cheer up the chores and tasks of the llano. They motivate us to work from early morning, watching the dawn, and until long after sunset. Thus, we create a bond with the animals, especially with the horse, which is our best friend, companion, and brother, along with the hat, the saddle, and the cuatro, with which we sing our sorrows, loves, and joys. So Simon Diaz managed to transport the listeners to these beautiful environments of the llano. And they take you basically to the soils. He manages to capture the sounds of the birds in his music. They take you to the plains, to the savannas, to the trees, to the palms, to the sunsets, and to the warmth of this beautiful and unique environment. I think the beauty and uniqueness of this musical genre as it is how it's such a local language that is from such a small part of South America that very little people know, but that it captures something that is so universal, which is this spirit of coexistence among people who are united in common tasks. So the Tonada de Luna Llena, to mention one, is an example of a beautiful and poetic song that Simon Diaz wrote. And it's just basically a song of a worker that he sings to the moon as he is working until dawn. And so I would like to sing the song to you. I have my friend Seyuk Yu here. He's from South Korea. And we have arranged basically a depiction of the song, which I hope you enjoy.
Con el mío, yo vi de una garza
well, basically that's just an example of one of the many beautiful songs, entonadas, that Simon Diaz has. So I think you definitely should check him out. But let's talk about the unexpected and how these relate to the modern challenges that we face. When we think of how work songs connect people to labor, to nature, to the passing of time, and basically to the routines, we see how music has been used as an element to accompany every aspect of life, and how it connects us to our sources of life and even our sources of food and existence. And when we think of the modern challenges that we face today, of the challenges of the 21st century, we tend to turn back to technology and that we need science and development to overcome and face them. But when we think of growth and development, we usually look at the future. But perhaps we should also look back at the past, at the things that have made us and continue to make us human. Reconnecting with our natural synchrony through music, through art, through expression, and just looking back to these ancestral responses to the unexpected are key to rediscovering our humanity. Ultimately, we're nature. We are linked to it, and we live in a constant cycle of interaction and synchrony. And I think my main takeaway for you today is that when dealing with life's unexpected events, when dealing with life's challenges, we can always look back to music, to art, to nature, as they represent humanity at its core. Thank you.